About 14,000 people call this little town home. This little town is called Swampscott. It's right on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's filled with beauty. Two of these 14,000 residents have been protecting this oceanside suburb of Boston for decades, Chief Kevin Breen and Chief Ronald Madigan.
Hi, I'm Kevin Breen. I'm Chief of the Swampscott Fire Department.
Ronald Madigan, Police Chief in Swampscott, Massachusetts.
I think coming up the way that I did, I thought that I really had a good sense of what, all of the levels behind, below have dealt with and deal with in the fire department. I was interested in becoming an EMT, so I was active in the first aid and CPR aspects of Red Cross, and a lot of those volunteers were interested in the fire service and urged me to take the entrance exam for the fire department. The job seemed interesting, so I took, but they were taking it, so I said, well, sure, I'll try that too. So I took the entrance exam for the fire department, and to my surprise and good fortune, I was called by Chief Hyde and was appointed in October of 1976 to the Swampscott Fire Department.
I just felt it was a natural progression in terms of as I learned more about supervising, as I evolved to form my own ideas about how things should be done and done in a way that was fair and just to, and respectful of the public and treating people fairly. I just felt like as I got promoted to each rank, it was a natural progression. It was the natural next step. And I embraced it. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed, I felt confident in my own philosophy about how policing should be done and how people should be treated. And it was an opportunity to kind of cement that among the rank and file. I was one of the few EMTs here in the Swampscott Fire Department, and I was doing first aid right from day one, and there were a lot of fires in Lynn, so I really got very active and had a lot of work in the early days, and it just really enjoyed the job. So it wasn't something I had been seeking since I was young, but I just kind of fell into it, thankfully. It's funny how fate twists and makes things happen.
Well, Kevin was a firefighter when I met him. He had just gotten on, I think he was on for about a year. So when we got married and moved here, which was his family home, he was already into some things in the town. He volunteered a lot. So when we had kids, we did a lot of things in the town that had nothing to do with being a firefighter, but just living here. We coached teams, we were town meeting members.
They are very much a part of the town. They're well known to all the locals and the regulars and the moms and dads and the coaches and everybody else. And I think to be a really great local official, you have to be somebody who is out there and visible and known and accountable. And they've both done a really good job of doing that throughout the course of their voluntary time in public service in Swampscott, as well as in their paid time.
They're genuine. I mean, that's the word that I think I keep going back to, because they care, they know what they're doing, having, come up in other words, not coming from a different police department or fire department. They know the people, they know how things work. They've been able to maybe say, gee, this would be better if we did it this way. And I think having been within the ranks coming up, it just makes them better chiefs.
You lead by example, and the fact that we have such a strong fire department and a strong police department is because of the leadership in many respects. And it all flows down into the rank and file, and through their 30+ years of each of experience, they've shared their not only their skills as firemen and police officers, but they've shared a way of thinking and a sensitivity towards issues and interpersonal skills in the way in which they talk to members of our community, especially in some of the hardest times of their lives, the way in which they handle and talk to those members of the communities. And that's, I think, not only reflective in them, but everybody under their leadership.
As well as putting their time and effort into the safety and well-being of this town we call home. These two men have put their lives on the line countless times throughout the decades they have worked to ensure our safety in the place we call home.
He'd gone to work that morning, and all of a sudden I heard the fire trucks going by, and I opened the front door and caught the Swampscott engine going by. And I didn't think anything of it because the nursing home used to be down the street, and they would go there multiple times a week. And then I heard another truck and another truck, so I opened the door again and caught the tail end of two Lin engines. Then I knew we had a problem.
She decided to come to the fire scene, and I was up on a roof.
So I grabbed the kids and hightailed it down the street, and he had gotten smoke inhalation. He was on the roof, cutting a hole to vent.
And she was, expressing her concerns that, I might be in trouble. And one of the district chiefs, who was a friend of mine and knew us from our days in Red Cross, said, Leslie, I told him to be up there, he'll be fine. So, there have been times when my wife has been concerned.
So I found him, sitting next to a fire truck with them giving him oxygen, whatever, and that scared me a little bit. That's when it first hit me that he really could get hurt doing it. But most of the time he's very safety oriented, whatever, so. But I never doubted he would run in if he had to do something. It scared me more.
I'd say they've been worried about the safety, about my safety on occasion. As you said early on, I was out on patrol. I was in detectives. I worked on the drug task force unit, so I worked quite a bit over in Lynn and was involved in doing raids and going into some dangerous situations. I didn't bring a lot of that home. I didn't talk about it at home for the most part. I think that I didn't want to worry my children. They were little. And my wife. So I felt, the job has inherent risks. I think that our officers train quite a bit and try to do what they can to minimize that risk. We take steps to equip them with all the tools they need, and bulletproof vests. And at the end of the day, there's the unknown, and we see it. Police officers are, I'd say, are aware of shootings around the country and shootings of police officers around the state.
Coming through the ranks, these men have experienced both trauma and joy. As chiefs, they have established themselves as heroes and leaders to the people of this town and have helped to shape the place we live.
The biggest thing people will say about both Chief Breen and Chief Madigan is that they're nice guys. And that's not meant as a diss, that's meant as a compliment. They are nice guys. They're the kind of people you would want to have patrolling your streets or protecting your community in a small town like Swampscott.
Ron, when you talk to him, unless you knew that he was a police chief, I don't think that you would guess that he was a police chief. He is soft-spoken and thoughtful and contemplative about what the police mission is, and that excites me.
Kevin's a very caring person, loyal, dedicated. Everything he does 100%, whether it's with his family, his job. He never quits. And that has been the whole time I've known him, whether he's a volunteer with Red Cross or a school committee, whatever. He gives it 100%. No, he's a very nice person.
They're approachable and they're always interested in information and guidance and feedback from people about how they can do their jobs better. And they're the kind of people that I believe the folks who serve on the police department and serve for the fire department want to see succeed, and they work hard to support them.
So when I was studying and going for chief, you know, I had said to my wife that if I did get the job, I would probably stay longer than the 3 years. So, I didn't quite plan on staying 10, but but it's been good. I've accomplished a lot of what I hoped for. So I'm very proud of the department, of the effort that the members put in. We have a rescue presence on the water for a longer period of time, so I was very proud of that. We've hired a lot of great new firefighters. Again, by just circumstance, I've been responsible for replacing 10 of the firefighters in the department because of retirements, and we've been able to accomplish that. So it's been a busy time.
You know, ensuring that people are treated respectfully and equally under the law. That's an important thing that has been reinforced on every level. It's important to not lose sight of the fact that we're part of the community. That there's really a lot of opportunities to do good and not to lose sight of that. And that the rank and file in the department, the officers that work below that chief, rely on the chief to give them guidance and direct them, and to model that philosophy in order to maintain a culture in the police department that is out there to do good and to help people.
You know, Ron Madigan grew up here, and he, although he doesn't live here now, talks about and thinks about Swampscott as his home, and that's reflective in everything that he does. And he comes at it with a historical perspective, an understanding of the people in town, and a sympathy towards the things that the police department needs to help address. Kevin Breen is not only our fire chief and a 30-plus year member of our fire department, but he's been a resident and has volunteered on so many important committees in town. He's just recently signed up to serve on his second school building committee. He was originally on the high school building committee, which is a dedication of thousands of hours to helping build a new high school. Now he's signed up again to be on the school building committee for a new elementary school, which is not an easy task and one that will last years. But it's reflective of his commitment, and that shows in his work and his dedication to the town.
Well, I think the biggest thing I would say is that this is a turning of the page for Swampscott. I mean, these two guys have been leading the police and fire department for a long time, and they've been part of the fabric of the community for even longer. And they're nice guys, but they're big personalities and they're big shoes. And whoever comes in behind them is going to have their work cut out for them. But the good news for whoever comes in behind them is you have two people there who have sort of shown the way and demonstrated what being a really terrific local official in a community like Swampscott looks like. And I'm sure whoever comes next will have their own sort of way of doing things. But there are a lot of good lessons they could learn from the work that was done by both Chief Breen and by Chief Madigan.